Michael O'Leary, and I watch All About Sport on Cavan TV. So should you.
And welcome to All About Sport on CavanTV.com, coming to you live from our new studio at the Cavan Crystal Hotel, Dublin Road, Cavan Town. All About Sport is Ireland's first live web TV sports programme with nearly 2 million views in 212 countries worldwide. Joining me on tonight's show, I am delighted to have Christina McMahon, Ireland's newest WBC World Boxing Champion, joining me here in the studio. So Christina, you're very welcome to the show. I think you deserve a big cheer, actually, for everyone's here.
Thank you very much.
World Boxing Champion here in the studio. This is a first, so a very great evening for us here. But Christina, first of all, congratulations from us all here at Cavan TV Studios and from All About Sport. You really are flying the flag for women in sport, for women in boxing, but for Irish women. Congratulations. Tell us a little bit about, you know, the whole progression and I suppose a little bit more about your career.
Well, there's 20 years of my career in fighting. I started with kickboxing 20 years ago. Boxing wasn't really in Ireland, especially it wasn't in Ireland for women at all, actually, until 2006. So kickboxing was the big sport then, and I represented Ireland under my coach and my husband. And yes, and I did that for 12 years, and then I did amateur boxing, and fell in love with the boxing. And when it was just taken off in Ireland, I ended up that I was too old. They told me I was 35 and I couldn't box for Ireland anymore, and I had no losses on my card. So I just took the thickness and I decided to go pro and got licensed to go pro, and I'm the only female that is licensed in Ireland at the moment.
Wow, yeah, right, because that really was going to be one of my questions. Say, how did you decide, why did you decide to go professional or not follow, I suppose, in the footsteps of the likes of Katie Taylor and so on? We're bringing you back to your, I suppose, your kickboxing. You are a kickboxing champion, is that correct?
I won the Worlds in 2010.
Wow, right. So
2007. My God, sorry.
So how did you kickboxing? You're from you live in Carrickmacross.
Yeah, I'm from Carrickmacross and I live in Carrickmacross. I'm a complete homebird.
Yeah, so you're a Monaghan woman.
Yes,
but
true and true.
We just discovered that you have Cavan roots.
Oh, big Cavan roots. My mum's from Cavan. She's from Ballyconnell, and I have family here in Cavan Town as well. So yeah, big connection.
Which is great.
Yes,
brilliant.
Yeah.
So you won your kickboxing champion and now a WBC champion.
Yeah, we repeated history. Yeah, so we decided when we do the pro road that we'll investigate it first and take it quite slowly and see, you know, what's out there. And the first few fights was just testing fights, and then was trying to move up the ranks as quick as we could, and time was running out for me. I know people say about age, but more or less I wanted to get on with other things, but I didn't want to leave it until I finished the job. And I stuck with it and I had a few ups and downs on the way, not in myself but other people letting you down, fights, promoters, lots of different reasons. And cut a long story short, it was just well worth waiting for and well worth staying with the pain of it to bring home the belt to Ireland.
Yeah. Brilliant. You said you were like an amateur boxer, and you know, how did that kind of progress over the years for you?
Well, I loved it. At the time, I wanted to really improve my boxing skill as a kickboxer, actually, and the reason I boxed at all was to be a better kickboxer, believe it or not. And it did help that, and was one of the reasons why I did win a Worlds in the end. But because I'd done the Worlds after 10 years, I wanted a new goal, and the amateur was the next goal. And I fought 2 internationals as well, and I fought against England and I fought against Sweden, and I beat both of them. And actually I fought Sweden in February and I turned 35 in June, and Sweden went out to the Europeans that year and won the Europeans. And I knew I was at that level, but I didn't have the chance to go on. So I just thought, well, somebody else shouldn't dictate what you do just because of your age, because I have an underactive thyroid, and I feel better in my 30s than I did in my 20s, and I can be sure that I'm going into my 40s feeling better than I did in my 30s. And it's all about how you live and your lifestyle and what you do, and I didn't want someone else to dictate that, so I just said that here it is, let's go and do it and prove to people that age is only a number.
That is the biggest thing for me, was like, I suppose, and what age are you?
I'm 40.
You're
I'll
40.
be 41 in June.
That is just incredible.
Thank you.
And so many like top sports athletes, like, you know, rugby players and football players, like I suppose, you know, David Beckham and Bod, they all retire kind of in their late 30s.
Yeah.
But here you are, you know, determined, and here you are coming home with a WBC title. It's really, for people watching, they might just think, you know,
I actually
give people hope.
I fought a girl, she was 23 now in June. Wow. Yeah, and they slagged me that I could be her mum and I could be this, and I said, I'll prove to them I'll be more than her mum.
Do you feel, I suppose, age and mentally and physically you were, you know, you were more prepared?
Everything came together, your mind, your body. You know, they say mind, body and spirit, and it's the truth. As I got older, I started seeing things for what they are, and I see reality and I see truth, and I just knew I had it in me, and I just needed to go out there and show the world I had it. And to be honest with you, the odds were against us, and the more the odds were against us and the more people thought I couldn't do it, the more I was eager to do it. Yeah. And it drove me right up to the top.
You sound like a lady who just will not give up.
No.
You train with your trainers who are based in Belfast?
Yes, my senior coach, Paul McCullers, and then Sean, his son, are a fantastic team. I met them a few years ago and I learned so much for the sport. But the main thing is that my husband is my main coach and my manager and my husband all in one. And he trusted the McCullers and he trusted what they were saying, and we were coming home knowing we were learning a lot. And I think that's what really, you know, took me to where I needed to go. But then you had the Crumlin side of things. When I joined the pro game, Phil Sutcliffe in Crumlin was also the reason I'm here today too, because even though I don't train with him at the moment, I trained with him for 2 years, and without that I wouldn't be here either. So all these people make a big difference to your life, and I learned from all of them.
Your husband, so your coach, your manager, I was speaking to him earlier on the phone, and I was like, did you just say your husband and everything? So all rolled into one. So he's obviously a very busy man, but
he's extremely busy.
Really respect him in all the different levels.
Yeah, he's just got something that's very, very unusual, and it's a speciality. He can really separate being a coach and a husband. Yeah. And for me, if I was doing that, I'd find it very hard, because I get it hard to separate emotion from the reality, but he can actually do that, and that's what makes it. It's the fact that when he's a coach, he's a coach, and when he's a husband, and he's great in both roles, and I'm very lucky, to be honest.
The fight that took place last weekend in Zambia, now, in preparation for that fight, you know, how do you prepare for something like that? How often would you train? You know, I suppose how you eat and everything. How did you adapt for it? Well,
first of all, what Ireland didn't know and what I didn't know in the pro game is that there's a huge amount of women doing professional boxing, and they all have their different reasons for it. You know, people often said, well, it's just if they didn't make it an amateur, they go pro, and it's not the actual true story, and I'm finding that out very, very, very quickly. They're very hungry people for certain things in life, and maybe some of them are even feeding a family. And did you ever try to beat somebody who wants to feed their family, or somebody who wants to make it out of poverty? And we cop that, and their inner hearts are phenomenal, and I got a great respect for it. But my senior coach then always warned me that, Christina, to fight the best in the world, you're going to have to fight these girls, and they're all from hot countries, and they're all coming from high altitude, and in order to be prepared, you need to add that into your training. So my husband came home to my own club, and we built a heat room, and I did all my training. Well, not all of it, but you know, every so often I go into the heat room, and every so often I do my altitude training. So it was all done. Even though the fight wasn't there, but we knew if you want to fight the best, that's where they live. Mexico, Africa, you know, we knew there were hot
really
countries.
Hot, humid countries.
Exactly.
And so when you say he built a heat room, I mean a room and
that you can heat up, that you can't get air in, and it just literally gets really, really hot, and I go in and I shadow box or skip in it, or maybe cycle or do something in it like that for maybe, well, anywhere between 20 minutes and a half an hour, and just get used to that pure heat.
And then obviously, what's the best way did you find to keep your body hydrated in that type of heat?
You would hydrate before and after it, and it's how you eat and how you drink your water is very important. So it wouldn't be the training that's the issue, it would be how you feel before and after would be the big issue. And I was very aware of that because I'm in the fitness industry myself. And I teach fitness, so I would be kind of very good on that side of things myself.
Okay. And a lot of people who are unfamiliar with altitude, I mean, I've travelled and I've been in places, you know, in the Andes stuff where people can altitude sickness could really, you know, knock you down where you couldn't maybe. That's a really tough one. So when I heard about that, you could cope with that on top of this fight, I thought, wow. Yeah, it's a very hard one to mimic in this country anyway. And a new place in Monaghan had opened 6 months ago, and it was just great because it's right beside me, and I was able to go there and train there. And they just it's a mask you wear, and it takes the oxygen out of the air, and you can put it at different levels, and they can monitor how I am and how my blood saturation is. And I was down there doing personal training with Declan Brennan, and you know, they just really helped me out on that side of things and educated me on that side of things as well. Yeah, that is so interesting. And I'd never, when I just read about that today, I thought, isn't this interesting? Because, you know, it's such a new thing, really. It's new technology, you know. The whole journey to Zambia, when did you find out that this fight was going to take place? 30 days before the fight. They have to kind of give you that. But what had happened, which was very unusual, is that I was let down. I was meant to go to Berlin to fight for an international fight. And the day before, the girl got sick. And just before I was travelling, all dropped. And this was my third time that something like this had happened. And I just couldn't believe it. That was the one thing I couldn't believe, because it was so close to just go, and people had booked flights and everything. And I was the first thing I was thinking, oh my God, people are out of expense. But anyway, after that weekend, I went to Berlin with my dad and my brother and enjoyed it anyway. And after that weekend, I came home, and on the Tuesday we got a phone call to say that Cavan Ferry in Africa was to fight against Mexico. Mexico didn't travel, and would you like to take the position? And we said yes, of course. And then WBC put me forward then for the fight with Cavan Ferry. Wow, so it was ranked number 2. Ranked number 2 in the world. Yes. And where were you coming in? I actually was number 1 in Europe and number 9 in the world. And then when you don't fight over a year, you lose your ranking completely. So because I'd signed a WBC contract twice, my rankings were gone, but they were aware of who I was. So it was looking for the opportunity to get back in the rankings. So I'm actually back in number 1 in Europe today. Wow, so you're just kind of like bowled out and then back in at the top. Back to where I went. Oh, wow, what a journey. So when you went to Zambia, what sort of a reception did you get, and did many people travel? Or tell us about that whole journey. It was a very unusual journey. I was very worried about going to South Africa, because I thought, all right, there's only going to be 3 of us and that's it, and I need to get used to that and ready for that. And then all of a sudden I got this call from a guy in Dublin called Anthony Doran, and he said, Christina, you mightn't know me, but I know you through boxing, and my auntie from Zambia is after ringing me and telling me that you're coming to Zambia to fight. And he said, I'd like to go and help you out and do whatever I can. He lives in Dublin. So his mother was from Zambia. And he came down to my house on the Sunday evening and explained to myself and my husband exactly what Zambia was like, and he was 100% right. The people were amazing, firstly. His family were so supportive. They got T-shirts made with my name and everything on them. So I had my own wee following. Very nice. There's an Irish embassy out there, and he told me about that as well. And we went and we were invited to the Irish embassy, and they put word out in Zambia. So there's an awful lot of priests and nuns working out there doing charity work. And all that. So I had a few priests at my fight. And praying for you. Absolutely. They must have did something. And also, which was real unusual, when I was coming home on the plane, this couple came up to me and they said, can we have a photograph? We were at your fight. We were on honeymoon. And they're from Dublin. They were on honeymoon in Zambia, and they were at my fight. And unfortunately, I never got to see any of the fans afterwards, because we were dope tested. So for 2 hours after, we'd sit there till we could go to the bathroom. Really? And sure, we were after giving all for 10 rounds, so we'd nothing left in us. So myself and my opponent had to sit in a room till we went to the bathroom for a dope test, as in drug test. And so I never got to see who was at the fight, so they caught me on the airplane on the way home. So that was unusual. Zambia. So the fight took place last Saturday night, 2nd of May, same night as Pacquiao. Yes. And exactly. Yes, so it was a big weekend for boxing. It was. And so it took place. And was there a huge? What was the atmosphere like in the arena? Because obviously, Katrina, is that right? Christina. Christina Ferry. She is. Cavan Ferry. Cavan Ferry. Cavan Ferry is from. She's literally.
she's an ambassador for the country there at the minute. She's extremely well known. She's actually become the ambassador for Childline, and she's been educated by the people who are actually her boxing promoters and coaches. She was handed a car a week before this fight. She's just the queen of young people over there. So there was 3,000 people at the show. Wow. There was 10 million watched it in Zambia. And by the time CNN in Africa had it, there was 30 million watched this fight. And Anthony Doran rang us from Zambia. He came home a day later to say he could buy the video of the fight in a shop. It was just that big in Africa. And we didn't realise it. Like, people over here don't realise how big it was over there. Yeah. But it'd be like going in and beating their queen and taking the trophy away. So I became, you know, I suppose the face of Africa by the time I was finished.
I know you probably didn't want to leave, thinking
I just was
like a little celebrity.
But they did. They got up and clapped for me when I won the fight. And I did do 2 TV station programmes over there. I did the local programme and I did their national programme. And for 30 minutes on the local programme, he quizzed me about my age about 30 times in 30 minutes. And by the time I was finished, they never mentioned age again. And I had just a following in Zambia. That was something serious, because all the women of Zambia liked that. They liked that you're older, and they liked that they weren't going to take any crap. And for some reason, I just related to the crowd. So even though they loved their own, they actually loved me as well. And they treated me like their own. They're just the nicest people I ever met.
Yeah. So you had a full 10 rounds.
Yes, went right through to the final bell. Actually, I thought I had her at the final bell, but it was right through from the first round to the last round. 2 very hungry women. She was doing it for her reasons, and I was doing it for my reasons. There was part of me at times I would have thought, oh God, she's at home and she needs to win this. And then I was like, Christina, cop yourself on. You need to win this.
Yes.
No, you need to win this. And then the only thing that kept me kind of feeling good about it was, she's loads of time ahead of her. I'm near the end and I need this now to finish, and she can do it after I'm finished. So there's a bit of crack about it, you know.
Yeah. And then so after the 10 rounds, you had to wait for obviously the judges.
For the decision. It was nerve-wracking.
How long did you wait?
About 10 minutes, I'd say. But it was nerve-wracking because I was down on the 8th round. They told us the scores after 4 rounds, and they had me down. We thought we were winning by about 3 rounds. And then when it came to, I picked up pace and I started even fighting better. And on the 8th round, they told me I was still the same. I was down. I couldn't believe it. I said, I'm winning this and they're robbing me blindly. And I said, I can't leave it close. So the last 2 rounds, I took off like a beast, and I just ended up winning the last round by a 10-8 decision, and anyone in boxing would know what that is. I just left it clear margin winner. The championship rounds, there was no turning back. If there had to be 11 rounds, she wouldn't have come out, and I knew she wouldn't come out because her legs were gone in the tent. So, but unfortunately, it took me till then to get going. But I nearly lost it.
So you never know with that last, you know. So really,
I was kind of glad I knew in the 8th round that I was down, because I mightn't have put in that extra.
Exactly.
And funny, I had the fuel in the tank. So I don't know why I wasn't using it more, if that makes any sense, until I knew I had to. So that moment when, you know, the results were announced, you know, how did that, you know, what was the feeling? How would you describe that feeling to us? It was just, first of all, it was just a feeling of relief. It was complete and utter relief. Number one, because I'd catch a fairy in my head for a month. And the first thing was, I can stop thinking about her now. And the second thing was just, for my husband, the work and the dedication. And do you know, there's one thing me going in there and feeling the adrenaline and getting fit and healthy through the whole thing, but there's another thing, the work he does behind the scenes. And that's the piece people don't see, is the actual work that the manager does. And he's got that bond with me as well, and I just looked at him and I was just so delighted. And it was his birthday that week, and I told him I was getting the bell for him, and I just said to the TV cameras, this is a birthday present for my husband. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful thing for the 2 of us. The 2 other coaches, they just jumped around like big children and lifted me up, and one of them, when he lifted me up, when Anthony lifted me up, he saw the guys with my t-shirts on, and he walked forward and I went flying. So the photograph that shows me like this, I'm actually falling. So I end up actually falling off his shoulder. So I'm up like that, and the next minute I go, woo, I was gone.
But I suppose the whole adrenaline.
You're funny. It was just funny.
We have some footage, and I've just lost my earpiece. So we have some footage, and I'm not sure if it's ready, but this is from, and your husband sent this into us, and this
God.
is, we will get it up now in a minute, and they'll give us a little cue for it, but yeah, it's going to come up in a couple of minutes. But
no problem.
I think your husband sent this in. This may be when you were actually getting the belt.
Oh, maybe so. I don't know.
Yeah, and we'll just hold the belt up to the camera because, so you can get a look at that. And is that camera on there? Yeah,
it suits you.
Yeah, brilliant. So we'll just hold it up to this one. Yeah, it's a good colour, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a real Irish one, isn't it? It was meant to be in Ireland, that belt.
Yeah, gorgeous. It is a gorgeous belt. So what are you going to do with this belt now?
That belt will be just sitting with the rest of my belts in my room with pride for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Full stop. It doesn't need to go everywhere.
You're never going to, you're not going to fight to, like, say, you know,
well,
the way some people do that.
I fought number 2, but I want to fight number 1.
Oh, right.
Yes, I'm not finished yet.
You're not, well,
Sorry,
I was going to ask you that.
No,
we'll come back to that in a minute. I don't know if we're ready to go to that clip. Yeah? Well, we're going to go to this clip now of Christina McMahon on her world boxing champion in Zambia. Christina McMahon, world champion boxer, fighting her opponent, Catherine Ferry, in Zambia. Did I get that right? Catherine Ferry, yay! So, what song do you actually walk into?
Oh, you're the best around. Karate Kid.
Oh, right.
Because I come from the kickboxing background.
Yeah.
Because I came in the pro game as the underdog
and somebody who they didn't think would do it. My husband said, that's the fight for you, that's the song for you, because it's the best around, nothing's going to put you down, and you're repeating history.
Oh, very good. I like it. I like it. I like it.
So he picked it.
And then they call you Christina Lightning.
That's right.
Christina Lightning McMahon.
Yeah.
That's your stage
There was
name.
good crack because her nickname was the Copper Bullet, because it's copper land over there, and it's all about copper, and she's called the Copper Bullet, and I was telling them that Copper Bullet hasn't a chance when lightning strikes, so there's a bit of crack about the nicknames.
Did you have much celebrations, you know, after the fight on Saturday night?
I didn't really. I was very tired, and again, when we were dope tested, it kind of took the sting out of the whole crowd.
Yeah, and that has to happen in every fight, doesn't it?
Usually at the top level. That's my third time being dope tested, so in fairness, I think it's good to do it, and I think it's good to keep things right, so I wouldn't argue with it in any shape or form. I just think that when we sat up to watch the Pacquiao Mayweather fight, I couldn't sleep anyway. And then the next day in the hotel that I was staying in, they took out champagne and a nice dessert, and a few of the priests came in, the ones that didn't make the fight, came to the hotel to celebrate with the Irish girl. So it was lovely. It was really nice, something you couldn't buy, you know. So
travel with you, there was only 3 of you travel, you said, your husband?
There was 4 of us. There was my husband, Sean McCullers from Belfast, Frick, as we call him, Frick at home, Frick, my husband, and Anthony Dorn from Dublin, which has a Zambian background.
Yeah, and that was your team.
Yeah.
You had your homecoming yesterday evening in Carrickmacross. We were so disappointed we didn't make it. But we know it was Sean McMahon's Northern Side. We had him in here last week, and he was raving about you, and he really was telling us to get you into the studio. But tell us about the homecoming. You know, when you come back to your own hometown, it must
I
have been
was
a great
a little bit
moment.
embarrassed when I heard it first, and I thought, no, there's no need for the big hullabaloo. But gee, Chris, when they came to the house and collected me in a car, and they had the sirens on and the whole crack, and when I got into the car, the buzz just lifted. And when I got into the main street and seen my aunt, there was aunties who travelled to see me, and when I seen the family, and then I seen the crowd, and the children were roaring, and I just got out and I embraced the whole thing, and I just got into it. And I said to Sean on the night on the stage, when I won the Worlds in 2007, I'm a devil for always wondering what I'm going to do next. I didn't celebrate it because I was going out the following one to do full contact kickboxing for the world as well. And I took a medal out of it as well, but I never celebrated. And I just told him I'm not letting this go without celebrating, because I didn't celebrate when I won that enough. So this time I am going to celebrate it. And what's very important is, and I said it to them on stage, you don't win this on your own. Like, if I was away there, I had to have people doing my classes, and I had people who offered to do my classes, and we'd people who took our club when we were away, and people who organised everything when I was away. And it was a really nice opportunity to get on stage and personally thank people, and to thank the people for coming out, because you can't do it on your own. And people,
which is great. Your club in
Cavan Cross Boxing Club.
And then of course then you're saying you're a fitness instructor yourself, so that's you're
I'm out on my own now.
So you're busy.
I'm very busy, and it's something I love doing.
So it's great when you come back that you can get involved in something you love. You just mentioned to us, well, before we kind of finish up, we have some photographs that Dave is kindly going to pop up on your screens now. Just talk us through some great shots.
Well, these shorts, the green shorts, are the Irish shorts that was made especially for me, and it was a Christmas present for my husband. They're just a little bit heavy for going out and fighting, and it would be the ideal shorts for the colour. There's a lightning strike down the front of them. And the BUI is the governing body for boxing in Ireland. So they mean something special. I think I'm going to frame them eventually and maybe do something for sick children or something, which I'd like to do down the line. So I'm thinking about that at the moment. This picture was taken by Jerry Donnelly in Carrick Cross, and he's just a great photographer, and he took that, and I just like that picture because it's kind of saying who I am.
I love it. It's a great shot. And of course here you are with your opponent.
The Africans, they went out of the way to find the ugliest picture they could get. I'm not saying I'm beautiful, but jeekers, that does
not look like yourself in that one.
No.
From other
when I got there, they said to me, "Are you the same girl in that poster?" And I was delighted, because I was thinking, I'm glad they don't think I'm that girl in that poster, because that's straight after a fight, my hair had come out or something, and
honestly,
it's pretty. It looks terrible.
You could pass as 20 in that photo. I really like this one.
We were having crack, and somebody said, "I hope her arms aren't as long as her finger," like she had the finger up. So there was great crack on Facebook when I was away, and people kept me very humoured and kept me going, you know. But their plan was to take me out of it in the third round, and I knew they wanted to take me out in the third round, because that's what she does to all her opponents. And that was just letting her know that I'm here. And even though I'm joking, I mean business. This is purely and utterly thinking stage. And somebody caught me in the action. And that's gritting the teeth in the last round. I knew I had to win the fight, and actually I think I bit the inside of my cheek because it's sore today. And I think that probably is the moment I did it. And that's where I'm ready to fall off Anthony Doran's shoulder.
As a glorious moment.
Absolutely glorious.
Brilliant.
That's the Celtic Warrior belt that that got me into rankings, that got me into the top 10 in the world, that particular fight against the French. And that's the celebration. Well, that's my boxing club. They all turned up at the airport.
Lovely. Very good. And there was great scenes at the airport. Excellent. Congratulations, Christina.
Thank you very much.
Who is your sponsor? Who sponsors?
I don't have a sponsor, so here we go. Anybody that wants to sponsor me,
they're going to be queuing up at the door. They're lost.
We've a company we take a drink from, and it's called Mirinda, and Mirinda supply me with my health products. And they would be the only sponsors I have at the moment, and it's my husband's business. When we're finished boxing, he's going to go more into that, because I believe in the products, because I'm using them. But other than that, no, I don't have a sponsor. And my club, in fairness, went out and got a few people to sponsor me, and Cavan Cross sponsored me a few pounds as well. So, but no main sponsor.
People are very good. So, Christina, just to finish up, firstly, huge congratulations.
Thank
again.
you very much.
What is next for Christina McMahon? I don't think this is going to be the end of you anyway. So
no, but it'll be close to it. I want to fight the #1 in the world, and the #1 in the world, it's really mandatory that she fights now against the winner of Catch and Fearing, Christina McMahon. So it's me she has to face. So we're looking forward to that call. But rest for now.
You don't know when that could be, maybe in the next year?
It could be in 2 months' time, but it could be in 6 months' time. But we're going to kind of rest now and
and enjoy your time.
Exactly.
Enjoy your time celebrating your title. Well, Christina, we're going to leave it at that, but thank you so much for joining us in the studios here at Cavan TV. And congratulations from us all, and we wish you the best of luck with your future. An unbelievable inspiration to women in sport and boxing. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. So thank you very much to my very special guest for coming in for our exclusive here on All About Sport tonight. So that brings us to an end the show for this week. I will be back again at the same time next Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. If you would like to have your sport featured on the show, simply contact drumlinmedia@gmail.com, Facebook me, Louise O'Reilly, or tweet me at Cavan TV Sport. So it's goodbye from me. Cavan Crystal Hotel provides 4-star accommodation on the edge of Cavan Town. Located conveniently on the Dublin Road, just 60 minutes away from Dublin. With 85 beautifully appointed bedrooms and a number of luxurious suites. We offer wedding packages. With our one wedding a day policy, we guarantee to make yours a special day. Enjoy a meal at our award-winning Opus One restaurant, or have a drink in the atrium or residence bars. Feeling energetic? You can work out in Zest Health and Fitness Club, or maybe pamper yourself and visit Utopia Health and Beauty Clinic, or Avita's Hair Salon, both located on site. Situated only 5 minutes from Cavan Town Centre and local amenities. Cavan Crystal Hotel, gateway to Ireland's Lakelands.